Hello everyone, and welcome to a playthrough that I have had on my mind for quite some time to do. This was a game that was introduced to me some years ago, not too long after it first came out. I believe it was 2012 or 2013 that this game came out, if I recall correctly. Or maybe it was 2015, actually. It was around that time period. Forgive me for not recalling the actual date, but that's kind of the general time period. And this is one of those games that it's kind of a... It's in a genre that is basically kind of going out of style or even becoming kind of a lost art that you hardly ever see games like this anymore. And this used to be a little bit more common in years past. There's a series that I like, and in fact there's a game in the series that I have entertained doing a playthrough of for some time, but I've held off on it because one of the main gameplay aspects of that game, which the game I'm referring to is Tex Murphy, or rather Tesla Effect, a Tex Murphy adventure, is that it has a lot of puzzle solving. And I'm not the best when it comes to solving puzzles. When it comes to games that have lots of riddle solving, puzzle solving, I am someone who does tend to struggle. This is even one of those where if it's not super obvious and if you're not paying attention closely, you're probably going to get a little stuck. Now, the game does offer a good hint system, as well as the option to just simply utilize cheats, though it does encourage you not to do so, because there are even achievements you can get in this game for not using any cheats at all and beating the game, which is really not that hard. Like I said, if it's just simply a matter of noticing, paying attention, going through all your options and the information you gather, you should then be able to go ahead and pull it off. Not difficult at all. In fact, I wouldn't say this is a difficult game. When it comes to gameplay, the main crux of this game, and you can probably get it from the title, Contradiction, is that you're going to be going around asking people things, and you will make notes, or the game will make notes of what they say, and then you use those to see if there's any contradictory statements. Something that doesn't really work with something else they said. And that's really the main thing. A lot of this is very much carried by the actors. When I say this is an FMV game, I'm really not kidding. A lot of this is very much shot in live action with actors on location. Even background shots are like live shots of the areas. This was shot in, I forget where exactly. Forgive me about not recalling what the name of these places are. It's supposed to take place in a small village in the UK, and that is where it is shot, in the UK. Now, first and foremost, let me just go ahead and say this. I've never been to the UK. I am someone who is born in the USA, and I've spent my entire life in the USA, so I have no familiarity with how things are in villages in the UK. I would like to know, though. In fact, I would very much like to go through this game with someone who is from the UK, so they can let me know about how authentic this game is when it comes to representing stuff like a village in the UK. How accurate is it, based on things they say and such. Just very simple things I would love to know. And if you come across this and you are someone who is familiar with that, if you're from the UK and you can be able to spot things, feel more than free to share things about this game in the comments of these videos to let me know, hey, by the way, when they say this, that is true, or when they said that, I can tell you for a fact that's not true. Like, I think, for example, someone says there's no buses in this village. And I've heard Preach Gaming, I know he is from the UK, he said he's from Manchester, and he said that the likelihood of there being no buses in a village in the UK is almost impossible. So that's the kind of stuff I would love to know. Also, Before you get too far into this, I wanted you guys to know this is not a blind playthrough. As you can see on the top right, I've actually already beaten this game. It was more so a test run, because for some reason the audio of this game is kind of all over the place. If you look at some of the audio video options here, this is it. This is it when it comes to the options here. Now you can even see I'm doing this thing with the video vibrancy to change the brightness and such. So I'll go ahead and I guess put this back in the middle. When it comes to the ambient music, I mean, a lot of the other audio is pretty loud and I can't really control it. So I'm basically just going to have to utilize the slider I have here on my recording software to manage the level of the sound of the game, because it can get really loud sometimes. And I don't really have the means to change that because, as you saw, that's it when it comes to the options for audio and video. Now, if you're wondering, why is there such a lack of options? My guess is because this game was a Kickstarter, and they had a very, very tiny budget to work with. And considering what they do here with this game, I think it's well done. Considering the small budget they had to work with, and that it was a Kickstarter, it was an independent game, I think it's a pretty good job. Now, it's also worth noting that one of the actors sadly passed away not too long after this game came out. I believe he passed away back in 2017. And because of that, an actual sequel to this game has never happened. Now, I'm saying because of that, that's my assumption. That's not like, I haven't heard anyone say, because this actor passed away, we are not doing a sequel to this game. I haven't heard anyone say that. So that's when I'm saying that, I'm not saying that as a statement of fact. That is my presumption that they didn't feel that they could do a sequel to this game without that actor playing that character, since he's actually a pretty important character in this game and this story. So not having that actor around anymore probably made it where they couldn't continue, which is unfortunate because this game leaves a lot of unanswered questions and a lot of open, unresolved things by the end of this game. We're able to solve the mystery, the main plot of this game, but in terms of the other stuff that you're going to see in this game, it doesn't get resolved. And we unfortunately don't get another game to get resolution to that. So, yeah. But the main reason I'm wanting to do this game is to basically shine an extra spotlight on it. Now, there have been a couple of other big names that have actually done a playthrough of this game, including Jesse Cox with Dodger, which was how the game was introduced to me. But I wanted to go ahead and do my own, just to go ahead and give yet another YouTuber to showcase this game on their channel, to expose it to those of you who perhaps have not even heard of this game, or even seen one of these live-action FMV games, which, like I said, I consider it a lost art, that it's a game genre that I think is sadly no longer being utilized, and I would love to see more of these, but I can understand the amount of issues that can come into play with that. If I do decide to get around to it, I would love to also show you guys the Tex Murphy games, which I do love, but forgive me if I'm not the best at doing those games when it comes to things like the exploring and puzzle solving and all that stuff, which is why I feel more comfortable with doing a playthrough of this compared to the Tex Murphy games. Now, I know some of you are like sitting there going, oh my gosh, you're talking so much, get to the game already. Again, I feel like I need to let you guys know about this before you make assumptions about this playthrough before you start watching, okay? If you're looking for a playthrough where somebody has not experienced this game and solved all the answers and everything, this is not the playthrough. This is not a blind playthrough. This is me showcasing the game itself, not trying to figuring it out for the first time. I've already beaten this game. I know what to do. Whether or not I remember what to do, that'll be a different thing. But I'm not wanting you to walk into this assuming it's a blind playthrough and then realizing that it's not, okay? Just want to get that out there. This is me loving this game and wanting to make videos of it, to show it off and get word out there, to go ahead and pick up this game yourself, to be able to also give it a review and get the word out about it. So that way, in case maybe they ever are able to get more funding for another game, perhaps it could happen by word of mouth. We got to do our part with word of mouth, and this is basically me doing my part for word of mouth as another content creator to get it out there. So before we get underway here, because I can't start a new game here, I actually had to reset game for that, let's watch the prologue so you can get an idea as to what exactly this game is about.
My name is Jenks, Detective Inspector Frederick Jenks, and I've been assigned to a last-minute investigation into the death of Kate Vine, a PhD student found drowned at midnight last Friday in a lake in the woods on the outskirts of the tiny village of Edenton. I have until first thing tomorrow morning to decide whether her death was a simple accident or whether this was murder. Kate Vine appeared to the world to be a bright, confident, fun-loving PhD student with everything to live for. However, a history of depression and alcoholism revealed in her medical records suggests that in reality, she had become adept at hiding behind a mask. A lab report indicating a high level of alcohol in her blood, along with the late hour of her death and a lack of witnesses, makes a strong case that this was suicide. But the verdict overlooked some curious details. Why was her driving license found on the opposite side of the lake in which she drowned? Also, there were traces of morphine in Kate's system. Where did she get it? Kate was known to be a free spirit with a nihilistic love of danger, which may, in part, have something to do with a business course called Atlas, which Kate had joined and which she had been attending on the night of her death. Based in a large, stately home on the outskirts of the village, the exclusive Atlas is run by father and son team, Paul and Ryan Rand. Both were interviewed following Kate's death, but neither claimed to have seen Kate after the meeting, and both were understandably eager to distance themselves and Atlas from the tragedy. This isn't the first time that Atlas has been investigated. Atlas and their questionable methods, which many have suggested border on mind control. Ryan is married to Rebecca, landlady of Edenton's village pub, the George and Dragon. As yet, she hasn't been interviewed, though it's likely Kate visited the pub on more than one occasion. One of Kate's friends was Emma Bowman, who lives at Eden Lodge on the road leading out of Edenton Village. Emma was also doing a PhD at the same university, but didn't attend Atlas. Interviewed after Kate's death, Emma seemed shocked and upset, insisting she hadn't seen Kate that night. However, it turned out her boyfriend had. Simon Thompson met Emma at university. After completing his degree around 18 months ago, he went to work at a shop in the neighboring village. He started at the Atlas course a few months ago. Simon insisted that he didn't see Kate after the meeting, but the sergeant interviewing him noted he seemed oddly unmoved by her death, which makes him the first person I want to see tonight. It's time for some answers.
But before we can get those answers, we'll have to go around and ask some questions. Welcome to Edenton Village. Click the arrows to move around the village. If you see the magnifying glass, try your investigate button to see Jenks investigate. Click the inventory icon to see your collected items, which will include both physical objects and information that Jenks has collected. If you're at a location where you think you can use a physical item, then try the use icon. So just to go ahead and recap a bit more of the information, Kate Vine was a PhD student found drowned at midnight last Friday in a lake in the woods on the outskirts of the tiny village of Edenton. The lab report indicated a high level of alcohol in her blood at the time of death, along with traces of morphine. The alcohol is consistent with her medical records, which reveal a history of depression and alcoholism. However, the origin of the morphine remains a mystery. Kate had joined a controversial business course called Atlas, based in a large stately home just outside the village. Kate had been attending the course on the night of her death. Atlas is run by father and son team, Paul and Ryan Rand. A little note here before we continue. This is Paul Rand, and the actor, the gentleman playing Mr. Paul Rand, is the gentleman who sadly passed away back in 2017. Funnily enough, they share the same first name, Paul. The actor is named Paul Darrow. May he rest in peace. We will meet him later in the game, and in my opinion, he's actually one of the better actors in this cast. Even though I think a lot of the actors do a good job, though I will admit, a number of them do ham it up. Just letting you guys know, there's some hammy acting in this, and Ryan Rand is one of those that does quite a bit of the hammy acting, along with our good old I almost said detective, Inspector Jenks. Though we may as well jokingly refer to him as a detective. In fact, I think at one point he'll jokingly be referred to as Mr. Holmes. But, yeah. Both were interviewed following Kate's death, but neither claimed to have seen Kate after the meeting, and both were understandably eager to distance themselves from Atlas from the tragedy. This is not the first time that Atlas has been investigated. Rumors have been circulating for years surrounding Atlas and their questionable methods, which many have suggested border on mind control. A lot of this is what you hear Jinx say. A lot of this here is literally what he said. If you were paying attention to what Jenks was saying, of course. So yeah, that's all the case background information. So, anyways. So this is the button that lets us be able to see all the things we have collected. We start off with just the driving license. Wonder why that tape is there. But we can see that is Miss Kate Vine of the UK, England. She was born, looks like on the 20th of May in 1994. Abbey Road, Windle, Edenton. And that is Miss Vine herself. This is the map button, which you can see this is the entirety of the map that we will be playing with. It's a street with several buildings here. You know, it's like I said, it's a village. And there's a forest area, and then there is the state where Atlas is. This is the hint button. If you're like, oh, what should I do next? Now, this is not considered cheats. This is just considered a little hint, a little tip. Just be like, hey, maybe you should do a spot of investigating around the lodge, or you have some things you have not asked both Simon and Emma about yet, which they are the first people we will be going to see. And then this button here is just simply the main menu here in case you want to either save the game and any of that stuff here. So, considering that, now I don't know what the actual figures are in terms of the budget for this game, but considering the budget for, that they say that this game had a very tiny budget, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. So you can be able to just click this, and then you move to a different area. We can call the chief if we need an update or need a tip or some advice or something, to call and be like, hey, chief, I found this out. Can you check this out for me? I need some background information, stuff like that. So we'll just go ahead and head on over here, since we have to go meet Simon and Emma. They're over here. Now, hold on a second. Let's go ahead and check over here. The Edenton Village Hall. Huh. Oh.
Always nice to randomly find a key on the floor.
Yes, it is nice, isn't it? I wonder what that will be for. And it was near the village hall. That's interesting. Well, anyways, let's go ahead and head on over here to the lodge. Oh, before we go have a chat with Simon and Emma, let's check this out.
Very trusting, leaving a bike unlocked. Looks like homebrew equipment. Ah, this might come in handy.
I'd like to think that he is just straight up borrowing the screwdriver, like, oh, I fully intend to return it. But who knows when a screwdriver will come in handy during an investigation, right? Because otherwise you could be like, you just straight up stole that screwdriver. He's like, no, I'm just simply borrowing it. I'll return it when this investigation is over. At least that's how I'd like to think Jinx was thinking when he decided to go ahead and take that screwdriver. But yeah, you'll see now that we've got these things here added here. So now these will be things that we can actually ask about.
Is it Simon?
Yeah.
Detective Inspector Jenks. I'm investigating an incident in the village. Could I come in and ask you a few questions, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
We can just go through here if you want. Emma's working in the front room.
Hi.
This is Inspector James.
Jenks.
What's all this about?
There was a death in the village. Kate Vine, I believe you both knew her.
Yeah. Do you need to speak to both of us?
I'll just speak to Simon first, if that's okay.
Just come through. Is it okay in here?
Oh, this will be fine, yeah.
Do you want anything? Water?
No, I won't be long.
Okay.
So, one of my favorite actors in this, if you probably can't tell already, is Jenks himself. Rupert Booth, I believe, is the name of the actor. He's quite animated throughout this game, and I kind of love it. I wouldn't say his acting is hammy, like some of the others, like Ryan, but he's quite animated, and he'll say some things where he does you can tell he's into it, you know? And I just love that. I love it when actors clearly are showing that they are into acting their character and their role. So, like, you can see with the eyes and the cheekbones, he gets quite animated. Like, that's okay. So, I really enjoy it. So this is your first interview. First, pick an item that you want to ask about, and then click the Ask button to see Jenks ask about it. When you have heard the reply, you'll see a summary of what was said in the box at the bottom. Then, clicking any item you've already asked about shows the summary of replies beneath. Now click any reply to add it to the Contradiction box on the right, and you can add 2 replies at a time, and that is how you say, this is the first thing here, and this here, and these contradict each other. Now you can start looking for contradictions. Find 2 contradictory replies and add them to the Contradiction box. If they go green, sit back and watch Jenks interrogate your interviewee. So we'll just go down the list, shall we? Let's ask about Kate Vine's death.
When was the last time you saw Kate Vine?
So last Friday's meeting, I think.
Did you see her after the meeting?
No.
How long have you known Kate?
That would be when we started Atlas. 3 months ago?
Did you socialise outside Atlas?
No.
How would you describe her? What sort of person was she?
Well, she's talented. She was full of life, you know? Sharp, quite sharp.
Would you say she had any emotional problems?
Her mood could change. And, well, there was the drinking problem.
When did you become aware of that?
Well, she would come drunk to meetings sometimes. She would reek of the stuff. I mean, everyone knew, but nobody really said anything.
So, tell me a bit about Atlas.
Well, it's just a business management training program for postgrads.
And you started this after you left college?
Yeah.
And it's on every Friday?
Yeah, well, my group isn't doing it this Friday, but one of the groups is.
Okay, thanks.
So you'll see the summary of the things that he said. These are the things we can click on to be able to put down here. Now you can't choose more than one from the same thing here. You have to be able to choose just one from here, and then you can choose, say, another one from that's listed from a different one here. So we'll just go ahead and keep on going down the list.
Did you know whether Kate had lost Bliss or not?
No. No, I don't think so. I've never seen it before.
Whose is the bike outside?
Oh, that's my cousin's. He lent me it. I need to buy a new lock for it, though.
So it's your bike at the moment?
Yeah. There's no bus service to speak of around here, so it's really the only way to get around.
I noticed a lot of bottles outside. Are they yours?
Yeah, I make homebrew.
For yourself?
Well, no, I give it out to my friends and stuff. I tried selling it at first, but I didn't have any takers. Except for James over at Farmhouse. I used to trade it to him for herbs and stuff.
Do you see James a lot?
No, not really.
So now we get another topic because Simon volunteered the information about his homebrew. So that now becomes a new topic that we can ask other people about. Which I'm sure you're like, why would we ask other people about Simon's homebrew? It is funny, like, we can ask somebody, like, do you know about this? And they're like, nope. And then that's it. It does get rather funny, seeing the amount of people that are just like, nope, don't know a thing about that.
Thank you. Probably be back later. Don't worry, it's only a few questions.
Yeah.
So now we'll go down the list with Emma.
When was the last time you saw Kate Vine?
It was last Thursday in the college library. I saw her and we chatted for a bit. She seemed her usual self.
What was her usual self?
Oh, just Kate being Kate. You know, a bit wild.
Wild? In what way wild?
Oh, she just used to question everything, you know. Have arguments with the lecturers, things like that.
What else?
Kate had a drink problem.
How noticeable was that?
Well, it wasn't at first, but as the year went on, she'd be drunk in the afternoon. But I think she cut down, you know, towards the end of college and when she started her PhD.
So that's an example I'm talking about why I like Jenks' actor, when he's like, wild? In what way wild? The actor just, like, really makes it entertaining to watch. And I am personally somebody who has a bit of a soft spot when it comes to watching people decide to ham it up a bit when it comes to their acting. I really enjoy hammy acting, you know?
Did you know whether Kate had lost this or not?
I don't know, but I don't think so.
Okay. Whose is the bike outside?
Oh, it's Simon's cousin's. He uses it to get to work.
You know the lock's broken.
Oh, I know, I keep telling him to fix it.
What's the stack of bottles outside?
Oh, that's all Simon's stuff. You better ask him. I don't know.
Have you ever tried Simon's homebrew?
Me? No. I don't like beer. I only drink wine. I can't stand spirits either.
Alright, so we've asked both of them everything that we have available. Now you're probably thinking, wait a minute, do we have a contradiction here between either of them? Now the thing is, to clarify, you cannot use information you get from one character to the other. Now, you can remember what they say when it comes to making a contradiction, but you can't actually, like, select it here. So, like, anything that Emma says, I then can't use to contradict anything that Simon says. But I can remember little information from one character and then use that to be like, wait a minute, that means this, and then I can be able to make a contradiction based on other things that they say. Now, for the moment, we don't have a contradiction for either of them, so we'll just go ahead and leave.
That's all for the moment. Thank you. Best to knock on the window for Emma. Simon always answers the front door.
So now, let's see, I wonder if forensics searched the jetty by the lake. That should give you the idea. It's like, look, you can't do a contradiction now, so you have to just go ahead and move on. So let's go ahead and go on into the woods. Just a little clearing here. Wondering why all of a sudden it's getting a little choppy here. Oh, it's probably the video vibrancy. That's why. Because I remember it not being this choppy before. I don't know. For some reason, it's being a little extra choppy than it was when I was testing this earlier. But like, look at this shot here. Isn't it nice? We actually have a couple people over there. You can see the water. I don't know.
Looks like a piece of jewellery there, stuck between the boards. Well and truly wedged in.
So this is the very first early indicator that you're supposed to have something else for that, which, of course, this is where the screwdriver comes into play. So you just do this.
Interesting. I thought forensics had checked the whole area. Obviously not very well.
So now we can go ask them about this. So we can just now go ahead and click this. It'll take us right back to the lodge.
A few more questions, if you don't mind.
So they do a good job of trying to cut down the little clips to have you go from one character to the other, though I will say some go on a little longer than they should or need to, but that's just kind of how it is.
Ever seen this?
Looks like, that's my old necklace. I gave this to Kate.
So Kate might have been wearing it last Friday.
Yeah, well, perhaps, but I can't see why. She was always buying new things, you know, lots of jewellery, stuff like that. It's meant to be a bird in cage, but the cage's fallen off. Oh, I'll show you.
Where did you buy it?
I didn't. Some wanted present.
Secret admirer.
Not so secret.
I see. Do
That's how it should have looked. It's called a freedom necklace.
you mind if I keep this?
No, not at all.
So the necklace did belong to Kate. Interesting. I'm starting to wish I'd brought a spare evidence bag.
By the way, did you notice all the stuff in the background when she went to go get that card? Like all the collector's boxes of Doctor Who. Like there was a number of other things back there, but I'll let you guys go back and pause that, and you can try and like see all the various different things they had in the background. And of course, I'm just amused that a lot of it was Doctor Who, you know.
Be back later on, if that's okay.
So now let's ask Simon about this. So it looks like I missed out on being able to ask him about this broken pendant thing, and said we'll just ask him about the necklace. But again, I love how Jenks is like, yeah, have you ever seen this? I just love that.
You know what this is?
Yeah. Yeah, I think Emma had one like it. Actually, you know what? Kate had one. I remember because I asked her about it one night when we were all out drinking in college. I was probably pretty drunk.
That's what college is all about.
Not sure I agree with that, Jenks. But you notice what he said there, right? He said that she wore it at college. Now, we asked him when he knew Kate, and he said, oh, I've only known her for 3 months. College was a lot longer, you know, that was some time ago. That was more than 3 months ago. So clearly that's a contradiction.
Aha.
So how did you know Kate was wearing a freedom necklace 18 months ago? At college?
Well, I knew Kate at college, but I didn't get to know her till we started Atlas.
Right, so you didn't socialise with her at college?
No.
And you didn't socialise with her outside of Atlas?
No.
You didn't see her outside Atlas at all?
No, not at all.
So Simon did know Kate at college, but why would he lie about that? Maybe he knows Kate better than he's willing to admit. 6 o'clock. I wonder if Rebecca's working in the pub tonight.
So yeah, when you make a big advancement in the case, it advances an hour. And the game tells you that you have till... you'll get the midnight hour, but when you get to midnight, that's the last hour of the game. Because, as he said, he had until the top of the morning to try and solve this, or to see whether or not it was suicide or a murder. So, yeah, that's the first hour. So when we return, we will be heading on into the pub, and perhaps meeting Mrs. Rand. Stay tuned.